Thank you, Mr Speaker. It gives me great pleasure to move that the 92nd report of the Public Works Committee for the 54th Parliament, entitled Greenwith Primary School Redevelopment Project, be noted. Mr Speaker, as you will know, but particularly the member for King will also know, that Greenwith Primary School is located on Golden Grove Road, Greenwith, in the city of Tea Tree Gully. Greenwith Primary School was allocated funding of $5 million as part of the Department for Education's Capital Works program. The proposed redevelopment will consist of demolition and new works to accommodate 750 students on the Greenwith Primary School site. The key drivers for the redevelopment proposal are to provide accommodation to support contemporary teaching and learning, to demolish aged relocatable accommodation at the school site, including removing asbestos, and to improve street presence and the school's connectivity to the community. The redevelopment project will provide modern educational accommodation, will meet legislative compliance requirements, and deliver the department's benchmark accommodation for students in a primary school. The key outcomes at the completion of this project will be to provide contemporary learning areas to support 21st century learning pedagogy, to develop creative, flexible learning spaces to enhance student engagement and allow collaborative teaching practices, and to replace aged buildings with new, more efficient facilities. The proposed redevelopment at Greenwith Primary School will be staged, with construction expected to be completed in the course of this year. The committee examined written and oral evidence in relation to this project and received assurances that the appropriate consultation had been undertaken. The committee is satisfied that the proposal has been subject to the appropriate agency consultation and meets the criteria for the examination of projects as described in the Parliamentary Committees Act 1991. Based on the evidence considered and pursuant to Section 12C of the Parliamentary Committees Act 1991, the Public Works Committee reports to Parliament that it recommends the proposed public works. And it's also important for me to emphasise, Mr Speaker, the passion, commitment and determination of the member for King to see this project through. She's closely familiar with the needs of this school community and of students across her community and families, and we're very appreciative of her ongoing advocacy, and she should be particularly proud this day, as we are as well.
The member for King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It was with great pleasure I rise to speak about this upgrade at the Greenwith Primary School, and I thank the Public Works Committee and the member for Carville for all their fantastic work to recommend this and get it to this point as well. This is a $5 million facility upgrade thanks to the Marshall Liberal government delivering for the local King community. A new two-storey permanent modular facility including general learning areas, service learning areas, performance-based practice, withdrawal rooms, breakout spaces, teacher preparation space and disability access toilets in this upgrade. It's been going since November 2020, where we've had to make quite a few changes with the construction going on, and I want to thank the local community for their patience and adjusting the way that they do their drop-offs so that this construction can take place. And I want to thank the school for the wonderful communications they've put out, letting people know how this will take place, how we can adjust in terms of where we're kissing and dropping our children with the gates closed around this area. It's also been excellent the way that this build has been planned, so it's both on-site and off-site as well, to help with the school community being able to get on with going to school while this exciting build takes place. And to ensure the safety of everyone along this time. I'm advised that the construction is expected to be completing over the next couple of months, which is very, very exciting, and the Department for Education are keeping the community and stakeholders updated as this important project progresses. I want to thank all the stakeholders, the school and local community, for your ongoing support for Greenwith Primary School, and we look forward to celebrating these wonderful new school facilities once it's all complete. We were very fortunate to have the input of our 2020 school leaders into the important learning information and what this new building would look like. And I want to thank every community member and every student that inputted into how we could create a world-class environment in Greenwith and how we will deliver our school services both now and after this build takes place. I commend the educators and leaders at Greenwith Primary for the way they've included the students in this build, and there's lots of fantastic photos of the students being involved in the planning of this site and the students having their say. In addition, during the pandemic, even more widely in the seat of King, the Marshall Liberal government have fast-tracked maintenance on projects of part of the $32 million stimulus package to support our schools, and there's certainly lots of building going on in the seat of King. Just over a week ago, I attended the Greenwith Primary School AGM, and I want to thank every member there, the principal, for running an excellent AGM. What really stood out, the principal, Tanya Ajun, gave her update, and what really stood out was the amount that had been achieved in the last 12 months during a pandemic. Not only this build, but at the school, just so much progress had been made, and the school community should feel really, really proud about what's happening at Greenwith Primary School. And I want to thank all the new members of the committee that put their hand up to be part of the Governing Council as well. And I look forward to catching up with the new chair and the principal in Parliament House very soon as well. I also want to thank the Minister for Education for his visits to Greenwith Primary School and supporting the collaborative way that the build and the designs have been taking place, and his support for all of the schools in the King community. Thank you for everyone involved for helping us make the progress to deliver what matters in the seat of King.
The Minister for Education.
Thank you, sir. I won't repeat some of the excellent words that have been put forward already by the member for Carville as the chair of the Public Works Committee, and the member for King as the passionate local member who is, of course, very interested in the redevelopment of the Greenwith Primary School. But just to say a couple of extra things in briefly summarising what is a $5 million project, some outstanding 21st century world-class modular facilities that are replacing some very, very aged and dated facilities at a school that is thriving, sir, a school which, when I've visited it, has had engaged students, passionate educators, and indeed very strong leadership from the principal, Tanya Antoon. The Governing Council, I'm sure, as we're advised by the member for King, has a number of new members, will find the completion of this project in the coming months an outstanding launch for the rest of their term, and indeed for all of the students who will benefit from it in the years ahead. I'd just like to briefly congratulate the architects, Dust Studio, and the builders, Sarah Construction, an outstanding South Australian firm, who are working with the department and with the project managers at Sensum to make sure this project goes extremely well, and we can't wait to see the completed works actually not too far away, and I look forward to seeing the students being able to access these facilities before the end of this year. Greenwith Primary School is an interesting location in that it shares its campus with one of the local Catholic primary schools as well. And indeed there's even a shared reception area and a number of shared facilities, and the kids get along very well, as kids tend to do. I really commend the leadership in the schools for the way that they can do that in a collaborative way, but also identify their collaboration with the local council, and I'm pleased to say that some of the shared use facilities with the council that we've been working with the school through the department's legal services team and the council that long discussion has concluded in what I believe is a positive way, and so the school's continued use and the council's continued shared facilities will, I think, be an outstanding benefit to the local community and indeed particularly to the students at the school. Looking forward to seeing the project completed on time and on budget.
Member for Carville speaks. He closes debate. The member for Carville.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I earlier mentioned that it is a great pleasure to bring this project forward, and I think that all members present have benefited from the member for King outlining some of the benefits for her community in addition to the benefits that myself and the Minister have outlined. I said earlier too that it is a proud day for all of us. It should be a very proud day too for the member for King. I emphasise that point because she has been a very strong advocate, not just in relation to this project, but also in relation to a large number of other projects that come before the Public Works Committee. And I'm very appreciative of her consistently raising matters important to her community in relation to public works with me, and I'm sure the Minister, if he were still on his feet and had additional time, would emphasise that too. But the number of times that she is in front of ministers is extraordinary, an absolute champion for her community, and we're very appreciative of the work that she's done to see this project to completion.
The question for the House is that the 92nd report of the Public Works Committee entitled Greenwith Primary School Redevelopment be noted. Is it seconded? Put it at once. Those of the opinion say aye. Against say no. It's carried. The